सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। अमानित्वम् अदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचम् स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रहः इंद्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहंकार एव च जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् अशक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतत् ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा। So already in last two classes we have spoken this amanitvam and adambhitvam. So the real translation is absence of self-conceit and absence of pretension. But common translation is humility and simplicity. Now today we'll be discussing called Ahimsa. So when we are talking about this Ahimsa yama, this is actually the basic. Common translation is non-violence. So when you say non-violence, as we have discussed all these things, actually it is more than non-violence. We use the word not hurting. So you don't hurt. So when we say this ahimsa, generally when a person is having some hurt, only that person will hurt others. Unless you are hurt, you will not hurt anybody. That's why I am going for not hurting, not violence, non-violence. Okay, sometimes you say, because first you have to become violent. Violent is different, deep within. But if you say that there is some type of sense of hurt in you, just look at yourself. When you are rude with somebody, whenever, when you increase your pitch, somewhere deep within, there is a sense of heart which you have not healed. So when the sense of heart is not healed, you have two options. Either you avoid, which is more dangerous, later on it will come back, or whatever you talk, it will generate heat. And when it generates heat, that is called hurting, that is called violence. So we look at all violence, all himsa into three categories. Generally, people talk two types of himsa, two types of violence. One is external, other one is internal. But here, I would like to look at this violence into three categories. In fact, when we talk about yama niyama time, I think we may talk in much more details. So when we say there are three types of violence, the first one is, we don't say internal or external. First type is gross. So when we say gross violence related to this tangible world, related to body, related to people. So we use a word called sharirika. So first one is called sharirika, belongs to body. You can use the word extend to tangible world. What we call as also external, you can say. The second one we use called as manasika, mental. So this mental hurt, mental violence can be external, also can be internal. So mentally, you can hurt somebody. You can send your energy to hurt without talking. Also, you can hurt yourself. And the third one we use what called adhyatmic. So this adhyatmic is something that we call as when a person makes one's own antakarana instrument dirty. It's a very subtle point, okay? When you make your instrument, okay, antakarana means what? Instrument, inner instrument. So what are they? Mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. So all these four put together is called as antakarana. And of course, this sukshma sarira, along with that, also we have this elements, indriyas, sense organs. Now, when one makes them dirty, so you may ask the question, what do you mean by this word, making them dirty? So dirty means what? Dirt means what? If you look at anything, I should not show this example, then it will be a big mess. I don't know what to say. Okay. Now, if I show this pen, now seeing this pen, you cannot say that it is dirty. Even though there are two colors, but nicely arranged. Now, other than the pain, sorry, I'm extremely sorry. Other than pain, if any other materials like dirt, dust, or some painting here and there, or paper is stuck, what you will say? Will you say it is dirty or not? The cloth, as long as it's only cloth, it is not dirty, it is clean. But when some other things joins extra, plus that plus is called dirt. Now, mind job is to function in a given way. The intellect job is to function in one way. Memory is supposed to have, you are supposed to have access to your past. But what happens? Other than that, when it starts confused, some other thing pops up, gets mixed up. You call that as a dirty antakaran instrument. So now here we say the himsa is divided into three categories. So that means one is external, related to body. Second one related to definitely mind. Third is that subtle aspect which you start thinking, feeding it, so that's why it gets manifested in the mind. So if you want to say your intention, your attitude is called adhyatmika. So your intention, your attitude makes the next step, make it grosser, becomes manasika. Then when you start executing physically, that becomes sharirika, completely bodily. Now, when we talk about this himsa, as we have discussed, the interesting part would be the one who is more hurt emphasizes, highlights about not hurt. One who is violent enough highlights you should be non-violent. And my favorite man, okay? Who was always violent, was hitting his wife. That's why wife had to run away. But he emphasized, he highlighted non-violence. And we all believe, okay? Remember, I love him as long as that fellow is in my pocket, okay? Other than that, I don't have any issue, okay? I don't have any relationship. I'm very clear. However, same thing also today being Buddha Purnima. I don't want to spare him today. Means what a fancy thing they did. This is called history, how the people write it. The best example is Indian history. The way they have presented Indian history is a disaster. All of us, we have been taught from our childhood. And of course, that has gone to all over the world. Like, we have this Vasco da Gama, okay, invented. What before Vasco da Gama? What about other people? What about Mughals? They had also come before. So which India they invented, or which India they conquered? So all these Britishers, they have destroyed the culture of all over the world. And this story here is, Buddha was born on which day? Got enlightened in the same day. And finally what happened? He left the body, nirvana, not they said live, nirvana, also he got nirvana on the same day. It is up to you to understand what is truth, what is not, okay? All are fabricated stories. Nowadays, what happens, those who are following Buddhism now, new concept, now in India especially, Ambedkar has become God for them. The marriage happens in front of Ambedkar and they exchange the thali and everything in front of him. This is new. system started happening, which is very painful. So Buddha is getting replaced with Ambedkar in India now. There's a new trend started to come. It's a political movement now. However, coming back to the point, this violence, or the one who highlights about non-violence, please remember that fellow must be violent within. It is exactly like, for example, there are people, groups of people, or in your house, you tell your child, hey, don't get angry. What does it mean? There could be two reasons. So child must be getting angry regularly. So why child gets angry regularly? You must have done something wrong. You might have provoked. Unless you provoke, unless you do something, child will not get angry just like that. Or you might be getting angry regularly. That's why you are trying to projecting yourself on the child. I don't think there could be third options. Without reason, if you say, hey, don't get angry, don't do this, don't do that. What does it mean? You are completely insecure at that moment. So here is very carefully highlighted that when a person talks about himsa, talks about violence, that means the non-violence, I made a mistake, violence, and definitely that person deep within is violent. And to avoid that, we'll talk about non-violence. So that's why we say very carefully, let me not become violent. Also, let me not allow someone to become violent for me. This is the second step. Can you see this point? That is called non-violence, that I am not violent. Also, I don't allow others to become violent. Or else what will happen? It will happen exactly like Mahatma Gandhi. I can bring his name at this moment. The one who was embodiment of non-violence, what he claimed. Finally, how he died? He died with violence. What he left behind, don't ask me. After his death, how many Brahmins were killed in India? You cannot imagine. After death of Mahatma Gandhi, how many Brahmins were being killed in India? You cannot imagine at all. It was not recorded at all. So the one who was embodiment of non-violence, how come somebody can kill him? How can somebody can shoot him? And after his death, how come only violence continue? Till now also continuing because of that reason. That's another issue, okay? Let us not get into that. Is political. So that means it is not non-violence. It is showing up. So also in me, I must see that I am not violent. Because I have to understand why I am violent. Because deep within, there is some type of hurt in me. When there is unresolved hurt in me, please understand. When there is unresolved hurt in me, that manifests in the form of violence. But if I have created a different self-image about me, so amani tum, not I don't have amanitum, I am a full mani fellow, manitum in me, and dambha also is there. Then what happens? I don't have any other choice other than developing or accepting hinsa, but presenting I am embodiment of ahimsa. So that means those who are, please understand, arrogant, stubborn, they think they know everything, they are the boss, they only propagate the word non-violence. So whoever talks about non-violence unnecessarily, may you come to a conclusion the fellow is full of arrogance, full of pretensions, full of lies, but talks very nicely, very differently. That's why ahimsa to be understood. How? When you become violent, what do you get? And also not allowing others to become violent, also another level. That is called really ahimsa. So a man of non-violence has to be very alert, not crook. So generally, ahimsa person is portrayed as a crook. Deep within crook, but portrayed as differently. So that's why they paint the face of the person different. So one photo they try to market, like including Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi's only one photo is being marketed, not other photos. He had hundreds of thousands of photos. Only one photo is being marketed. Same thing also Buddha. One photo or one statue, one type of face is being marketed. So that means, please understand, I must learn not to become violent in any level. And it will happen more I try to follow these two, that amanittam and adamitam. By following amanittam, adamitam, ahimsa will come to me. Or else I keep practicing non-violence, finally I'll become violent. More of it we'll see later on. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, all of you.